Welcome, students, to this edition of the Spartan News with your three-time Emmy Award-winning lead anchor Ryan Halligan, the 2028 Republican presidential candidate Jace Holyoke, and Caitlin Hintz with the weather.
Good morning, Sentinel. I'm Jace Holyoke.
And I'm Ryan Halligan, and these are your Spartan announcements for today, Thursday, March 29th, 2012.
And for today's top story, former Sentinel history teacher Larry Faust unexpectedly resigned Tuesday night from the MCPS Board of Trustees after serving for just 1 year. Faust, who had taught for 37 years before being elected to the school board, told the Missoulian Tuesday evening that he has been increasingly frustrated at being asked to approve school direction and policies enacted before he began to serve last May, particularly the International Baccalaureate program that started at Hellgate next fall. Faust was quoted saying, "We should be concentrating on educating the unwashed masses, the kids who don't have all the nurturing, all the kids who need a good basic education." Later on, Max will tell us a little bit more about what happened and the responses from the students about Mr. Faust.
In other school news, senior Laura Von Essen took first place honors at the Montana Council of Teachers of Mathematics contest last month. Over 1,100 students from western Montana competed in this event. Von Essen had the highest test score for both boys and girls. Her scores will be forwarded to the state level where she will compete for a $500 scholarship. The Sentinel team of Quinn Andrews, Jonathan Knutson, Michael Thomas, Hannah Warist, and as well as Laura Von Essen won first place overall for the team competition. Congratulations.
And the Sentinel Drama Department recently premiered the show Macbeth Did It. To tell us a little bit about more, we interviewed Mrs. Gagan, the drama teacher.
Let's see. This past weekend, the drama department performed Macbeth Did It, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, and the show went really, really well. I was proud of all of my actors and all of my technicians. Unfortunately, our audiences were kind of small. Spring shows are always a little harder, and the other two high schools were doing their shows the same weekend. MCT had a production last weekend, so, but we had good audiences. They responded well.
The annual Trig Star contest will be held April 18th at 3:10 p.m. in room 206. There are large cash prizes available for both regional and state winners. If you are interested or have any questions, see Mrs. Dozal.
There is an important meeting today at lunch in room 252 for all DECA members going to nationals. Also, track and softball pictures are today. Track will take their pictures at 3 p.m. and softball at 4 p.m.
As we all know, technology is becoming increasingly prevalent in society today. Some schools around the world now supply students with things like iPads, cell phones, and get this, high-speed internet. As it stands currently at Sentinel, students are permitted to take their phones out only at lunch and after school. However, as teachers are increasingly recognizing the benefits of technology could play in creating a 21st century education, the administration believes if an individual teacher feels the use of cell phones are necessary within the classroom for curricular purposes, students may be allowed to use them. We were curious how the teachers view the increase in technology with respect to education, so we decided to interview a select group of teachers to determine what their opinion on the cell phone policy is.
The way I understand it is students are not supposed to use their cell phones between the beginning of first and the end of fourth, and then the beginning of fifth and the end of seventh.
Kids aren't supposed to have a cell phone. You're not supposed to see them around school, and you're not supposed to be in the hallway. You're not supposed to be in classes. As far as I know, I think during lunch you guys can pull them out and text mom and see if things are okay.
I think that everyone in the school should have access to a smartphone with 3G or 4G network so that they can look up information, since they can't get it on the internet because it's blocked all the time.
If we had kids who had, say, 3G capability or possibly 4G, I don't even know if there's any 4G service in Montana, but if there is, it might help them do some research that would be fast. And I'd hope that they would limit it to educational purposes, but I think it could be very useful.
Kids checking stuff real quickly, I think it is helpful. I worry about students relying too heavily on them.
That's a great question, and I'm conflicted about it because, yes, I do. However, students, there's sometimes a disparity in wealth, and I think in public education we try to minimize that disparity in wealth.
I suppose they could be an okay tool. There's a big inequity between kids who have them and kids who don't have them, and kids who have smartphones and kids who have free texting. And so if we're really going to use them as a school tool, the school should have them to check out so every kid would have equity.
Could we provide smartphones for every student? That would be nice. So yes, I do think they would help the educational process. However, I think it also points out economic disparity.
Tom,
Yeah, for sure.
and you remember?
Senior Jim Thomas took first place at the recent Poetry Slam contest. This contest included students from all around the state, and each student who participated had to write his or her piece of poetry and present it before a panel of judges. Here is a short clip of Jim Thomas performing his speech for you. If you'd like to watch the whole thing, we have included it at the end of the announcements.
Hello there, my name is Jim Thomas, and on March 20th I performed at Big Sky's little poetry slam that they put on for two senior projects. And so what a slam is really you make an original work. It can be a poem, it can be a story, and then you go up in front of the audience and you perform it to them. And so I made this little thing the night before at 1 in the morning, just as something to do. I just thought it might be fun, and I ended up winning. So here you go, Sentinel. Most everybody wants to be known for something. They want their name up in lights no matter what the cause. They want to be remembered for that one thing. They want to start a revolution of some sort. They want to create and mold this idea of theirs that they dream of. They want to shape it with their hands into a sculpture that would impress the gods of Olympus themselves. They want to show it off to the world and just hope that the marble doesn't decay away too fast. They want to be someone. They want to be the superhero. They want to be the gold medalist. They want to be the rock star that makes platinum albums every single time. The problem? They don't try. They want this dream of theirs to come true without them trying. I'm one of those people who wants to be known.
Spring is almost here, and for more news with the weather, we will now send it over to Caitlin Hintz.
Hey there, Spartans. Caitlin Hintz here with your weather report. I must say, I'm suffering from a severe case of spring fever, and I'm sure I'm not the only one craving some quality time soaking up that vitamin D. Missoula has seemed to be on a weather roller coaster lately. We started off the week with some sunshine. However, this weekend there are supposed to be a few showers here and there, with the high temperatures only being in the low 50s. I hate to say it, folks, but you might want to keep your umbrellas out. And here's my weather joke of the day. What happens when it rains cats and dogs? You have to be careful not to step in a poodle. That's all, folks. Back to you, Ryan and Jace.
Thanks, Caitlin. I sure am looking forward to pulling out my shorts from the bottom of my drawer.
There's been a lot of news regarding entertainment in the media recently, which means it's time for another Pop Culture Minute with Max Tesoro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pop Culture Minute. 1 minute of madcap madness that not even Dale Jr. can catch up to. The Hunger Games movie, the far superior successor to Twilight as the resident teen megaseries, grossed a total of $152.5 million, the third best opening weekend revenue haul ever. The film, based off the best-selling book, trailed only 2011's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 and 2008's The Dark Knight. Incidentally, both of those films were sequels to popular films. So watch for the second adaptation of the Hunger Games trilogy, Catching Fire, to stake much enthusiasm upon its eventual release. Now if only I could stake Jennifer Lawrence. Speaking of Mr. Harry Potter, the popular books by author J.K. Rowling are now available on ebooks, thanks to a distribution deal with Rowling's new website, Pottermore.com, and Amazon. All the books are available either through a Kindle or Barnes & Noble's Nook. Rowling will get 70% of every sale. J.K. Rowling is like the Beatles, said Mike Shanson, head of digital publishing consulting firm The Ideological Company. Not bad for a British chick, eh? In other news, a Denver woman has been charged with perjury for avoiding jury duty. Turns out Susan Cole, 57, called into a radio show to brag about getting out of jury duty by dressing sloppily and pretending she had a mental disorder and post-traumatic stress syndrome. Unfortunately, the judge of the case happened to be listening. There's a lesson here, folks. If you get away with something, keep it to yourself. Y'all remember Larry Faust, right? For those of you who don't, he was a 37-year history teacher and Vietnam vet who popularized the wheel, among other things. Upon retiring, Faust was elected to the school board. At the latest meeting, Mr. Faust interrupted the proceedings, read an abrupt letter of resignation, and walked out. Is that awesome or what? He said that the board was operating out of democratic centralism, called the new IB program a distraction, and said that they ought to be focusing on the unwashed masses, whatever that means. According to board chairwoman Tony Rabine, Faust left her, the board, and Supreme Chancellor Alex Postel speechless. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't the only time Mr. Faust has left the crowd speechless, and it certainly won't be the last. And here's some more words on Mr. Faust from students. Thank you.
Mr. Faust, full of spunk.
Honestly, I miss him and his jokes. He was one of my favorites.
Mr. Faust is the best. His rain dance, best ever.
Mr. Faust is all that is man.
Thanks, Max. Well, spring sports are just around the corner, so we would now like to send it over to Vicky Chorney and Sarah Opitz for Spartan Sports.
Hello, fellow Spartans. I'm Victoria Charney, and this is my co-anchor, Sarah Opitz.
And we'll be your sportscasters for this week.
To start things off, we would like to give you the rundown on what our sports schedules are looking like for these next few weeks. Tennis has a crosstown matchup today versus the Hellgate Knights over at Playfair Park. Our ladies team is starting at 3 o'clock, while our gentlemen follow starting at 4. Make sure you go out and support our Spartans.
Softball is playing at the Great Falls Jamboree on Saturday to kick off their season. They will be playing Great Falls High, CMR, and a few other high schools. So all you devoted fans, drive on over and cheer on your Lady Spartans, and for the rest of you, make sure to wish them luck.
Track and field is looking good this year, filled with strong runners, throwers, and jumpers. Their first meet will be on April 14th over at MCPS Stadium.
Now, fellow Spartan Michael Thomas placed 36th at the National Freestyle Mogul Skiing Competition. Here's a clip of the action.
Hi, I'm Michael Thomas. I do moguls, freestyle moguls, and I just went on a trip to Stratton, Vermont for the freestyle national championships. Had a good time. Didn't do as well as I wanted to, but still came in about 36th.
Wow, congratulations, Michael.
And that's all we have for you today. Back to you, Ryan and Jace.
The following clubs will be meeting today at lunch: Drama Club in 201, Conservation Club in 247.
And we would like to wish a happy birthday to Skylar Sheff, Jessica McCollum, Madison Vanover, and Robert Whalen.
Thanks for watching, and have a great day, Sentinel. And if you'd like to watch the rest of Jim Thomas's poem, keep watching.
Peace out, Sentinel.
Most everybody wants to be known for something. They want their name up in lights no matter what the cause. They want to be remembered for that one thing. They want to start a revolution of some sort. They want to create and mold this idea of theirs that they dream of. They want to shape it with their hands into a sculpture that would impress the gods of Olympus themselves. They want to show it off to the world and just hope that the marble doesn't decay away too fast. They want to be someone. They want to be the superhero. They want to be the gold medalist. They want to be the rock star that makes platinum albums every single time. The problem? They don't try. They want this dream of theirs to come true without them trying. I'm one of those people who wants to be known. I want to throw an idea at you. I want to see how you react with it. I then want you to throw it back at me with some nice, juicy criticism, and maybe, just maybe, I want you to learn from it. Not too long ago was prom for Sentinel, and yes, I will toot my own horn here. I won prom king. Holla! Anyways, we did the grand march, stood around for a while afterwards, and waited to occupy the dance floor, when suddenly, the doors opened. I walked inside and viewed the balloons that were lifted up to the ceiling by helium. I looked at the beautiful amounts of silver and blue tinsel that glided across the floor and tables. An open door was in the corner, letting a breeze of fresh air come in. And there was a sort of mob thing going on in the middle. At first glance, it didn't look like it was much. It looked as though it was an abnormally large anthill, but oh no, it was something much worse. Teenagers. They were bouncing from side to side, doing a grotesque movement called grinding. I couldn't stand to watch. I had to do something. I dragged my date and a few friends over to the mosh pits, looked at the battle that was at hand, and waited for the right opportunity. The beats and bass were being laid down by the DJ, with hundreds around me shifting back and forth, moving their pelvic bones together. Minutes passed and my friends started to become worried. They thought that there was no chance of changing the mood of the dance, sure that if we stayed for longer than 2 more minutes, we too will be caught in the mob and forced to do these disgusting, repulsive movements with them. When it turned on, the song, that one song, the very first note of that house genre song dropped perfectly on beat. Right when that note hit, a grin crept across my face. My date started to notice what was happening and said, "Oh God, Jim, please no," but it was too late. The king had started. I fought against the crowd with everything I had. Their grinding was no match for my 0 dance lessons worth of experience. My moves started out precise and had a snap to them. And then things got awkward. I realized that my efforts were becoming futile, so I swapped to a different move, the shuffle. I glided across the floor more elegantly than butter sinking into mashed potatoes. I kicked my leg with ease and I was back in the zone. I then heard some screams and thought, well, obviously it's impressive. I looked to my right to see who was so amazed by my skill, and there stood a girl with a bruise on her leg and my foot hitting her repeatedly. What in God's name was I doing? I later shortened my moves to avoid hurting anyone else, and my plan was ultimately ineffective. My friends laughed at me, my date started to mock me, there were some pictures taken of the incident, and I was avoided by that bruised girl for the rest of the night, but damn it did I try. And that's a lot more than wanting. I tried to be the superhero, I tried to be the gold medalist, and oh God did I try to be that rock star. You can't be afraid to get knocked down. The only thing to do after that is to stand back up, and when you do, you'll realize how tall you really are. That's it.